Hey everyone, this is Dan, the GM, bringing you episode 162 of What the Dice. It's an episode that ends with 2, so you know what that means. It is time for me to suggest to you another podcast to listen to. Oh, I'm so glad I did this on it too. It's so much fun. Well, nonetheless, this week I've got a trailer, promo, whatever, wordy word bits, from a great little podcast called A Fool's Quest. I've listened to them for a while. I'm actually getting ready to go back and listen to them because they were so much fun to listen to the first time. So I'm going to shut up and let you get on with this promo.
What would you do if I told you that the world is not what it seems?
You're telling me that potato salad is the key to other worlds? Ha! It's not even the best side dish.
And people are not who they appear to be.
I don't know that we can trust Master Boucher.
Well, I know for damn sure we can't trust Charles Edward Cheese.
My name's not Mike. Where puns run rampant through the streets.
The Global Adventurers Guild Master Enterprises will not stand for this.
Well, it's gag me for sure, so I'm pretty sure they take everything on their knees, don't they?
And it's hard to tell who the real monsters are.
Well, yeah, it's a mimic. But I'm Francis the Lion.
3 heroes
You have my sword.
You have my kazoo.
Oh god, my hip.
face off against 3 villains.
Never again will they enslave me.
We'll make damn sure of that.
I'm Francis the Lion.
We know.
To keep the world of Euphrae from ripping apart.
This damn portal won't close.
Have you tried turning it off and back on again?
And Tim and Terry from getting even more screwed.
They're totally werewolves.
Yep, they're definitely werewolves.
Holy shit, those guys are werewolves.
Welcome to A Fool's Quest. A Fool's Quest can be found on all major podcasting platforms simply by searching A Fool's Quest.
Now that we got their great promo out of the way, don't forget, if you want to catch up with them, they are on Twitter and all other major streaming platforms. And if you need help finding them, if you take a look in the descriptions, I've got links for you. Well, it is 162. That was the lovely trailer, and I'm going to let you get on with this week's episode. I'm Dan the GM. This is 162. This is What the Dice, and you, my friends, are amazing. It is nightfall as we approach the storyteller's campsite. We went to get into town, and the town is on lockdown. Any found outside the town walls after curfew are not allowed in till dawn. The idea of war has shooken the local guards and made everyone very, very paranoid. We find ourselves sitting in front of the fire, enjoying the meal that the storyteller has made. Fish and some wild roots and herbs that he has found in his time here. We sit back and enjoy the soup as the storyteller smiles. Well, my friends. It seems as if the adventurers have had a knack for finding things long forgotten, supposed to be hidden, or ones that chose to be hidden. Well, now that they have found the Nagas, or the Nagas have found them, or captured them, or whatever happened, they now must run through a series of trials and tribulations to prove their innocence or their ability to learn whatever these strange Naga choose to teach them. Well, I can tell you, as a seafarer, one of the worst villains to fight is nothing more than red tape. Sit back, relax, and hear me tell. In In the last episode, you guys had a nice little meal, as well as an interruption from one Naga who was very jittery and very misorganized with notes and drawings galore in his pockets, and then another group of Naga that were explaining to you what you need to do to get everyone on your side, at least who you need to talk to. We come back with you guys heading towards the library. I need a perception check.
Gotta love opening up with a perception.
$29.
33.
Both of you hear the clanging of metal and pots and pans and miscellaneous pieces as someone comes running up behind you. You hear the sound of a table being flicked open and dropped, and it's my friends, please, come browse my wares. I have many things to show you.
Kalila's definitely mildly startled with that expressional look of like, the heck, as somebody just popped up a booth next to her.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, that was impressive hustle on that.
Of course you would be impressed by that.
Well, let me show you everything. He begins to pull out all these miscellaneous things. Holding up what looks like a lantern. He holds it up and he goes, "This lantern is a lantern of Everlight. It will never break. It will never go out." He shakes it a couple of times and it just breaks and falls to the ground. Well, it just broke. Well, that's garbage. Let me show you this sword. This sword was used to slay many foul beast. He picks up a wooden sword. You see, this sword is magic and can defeat any foe that is smaller you than ever. Yeah.
Did he mumble that?
Yes, he mumbled something, but you didn't catch it.
Now, what was that, buddy?
What was what? This? This beautiful lamp contains a djinn of genuine origin. All you must do is rub the lamp. He rubs the lamp. Nothing happens. Let me try that again. You must just rub the lamp. Nothing happens again. He opens it. The djinn must have escaped. He sets it down.
I thought they couldn't just leave.
But you are all discerning tradesmen. Do you see anything of my wares that you would like?
Given the fact that she just watched 3 items either break or not work, or something questionable about them just is there, she's going to give that polite 2-second glance down and then go, "I'm good, thanks," as she looks at Defibulus, kind of hoping no.
Defibulus will glance over his wares.
So you see bips and bobs and broken lanterns and broken rusted pieces of armor, as well as pieces of just stonework that has been chiseled poorly. Nothing that actually shows anything of value. It looks like junk. Even the metal that is there that you might be able to use, you see that it is rusted or is heavily damaged, which makes it unusable.
Well, I'm not seeing anything at the moment, so I'll have to take a pass today, but maybe next time.
Yes. You are, he gives a wink, tradesman. Hi, I know exactly what you need. He folds the table upward in half and slithers off with surprising speed for the amount of stuff that he is carrying.
After he slithers off quickly, they're going, wouldn't that have broken everything on the table?
Yeah, highly likely.
Confused and at least no longer angry, we'll head towards the library.
In the library, Nari has cleared off several tables and have laid out books and is clearly doing research of some kind.
Howdy, Nari.
Come on in. So I have done a little research and I have found something interesting. It seems as if I have an idea of why you are collecting these artifacts. At least the theory of why.
Yeah? What's that?
We're listening.
Well, you are... There's two ways that it looks like it could go. Well, more, but two seem to be the most predominant. You are either going to kill the Bone God, or you're going to make him forgotten again, which is relatively death to a god.
Well, so far, it seems like the whole forgotten bit with him doesn't really seem to stick. He just keeps coming back.
That, and if you remember, I forget who said it specifically, but in order to harm a god, you have to bring it into existence?
Yeah, turn immortal. That's, I think, what someone wanted us to do.
Yeah. Yeah, something along those lines. And being forgotten doesn't turn you mortal.
She flips through a couple of books. Well, did you enjoy lunch?
Yes, the rabbit. There's a nice little shop with some wonderful rice and rabbit.
Oh, it was phenomenal. Phenomenal? Phenomenal. There we go.
Excellent. So, what can I help you with? I know I promised answers. What answers can I help you find or give you?
Well, originally, you stated the knowledge on what these artifacts are actually supposed to do. You at least showed us that, yes, they are the elements. But past that, what does combining them all do? Does it give directions in that book on how to either kill the god or make them forgotten? Like, if we arrange them in the wrong order, is it one or the other?
I'm actually working on that now. There are many tomes that speak of the Bone God and his forceful withdrawal from the Pantheon. Some of them discuss that the gods themselves sealed his essence into the 5 basic elements and then distributed them out to be forgotten, where some tomes talk of adventurers who brought him to the mortal plane and fought and destroyed him. Others talk of sealing him in the earth itself using the primal elements. So there are contradictions in many of the stories.
I have a follow-up question for you.
I have a follow-up answer.
Does it discuss him as a singular god or the Bone God and the Bone Goddess?
Ooh, good question.
She stares at you for a long moment and looks at a book and flips it open and begins to quickly run her fingers over a couple of sections before flipping. And she looks at you with this confused look on her face.
Part of the travels that I'm guessing you didn't see in our visions is that we ran into the Bone Goddess and her temple, which depicted a tale that they were once one, and now they are two. And they are, from what we're gathering, opposite sides of the coin.
Everything I have discusses the Bone God as a single deity. There's no record of him being both
Goddess.
God and a god.
So it's either referring to just the Bone God as the masculine problem, or it's referring to them as a whole. Looking at Defibulus, I wonder if we need to put them back together in order to take him down. Because if we take down the Bone God, isn't that just destroying half?
Well, that, and it also might make the other one angry, but I mean, or it could balance out the attitude problem he's got, considering the goddess seemed to be kind of mild-mannered while he was rather raw, angry, I'm going to kill you all type attitude.
Yeah, and the Bone Goddess offered knowledge in exchange for... She made you immortal, but you said goodbye to your flesh and blood, you eventually become just a skeleton. So as long as you don't care about the physical, and all you care about is knowledge, you get what you want. But the bone god likes to raise the dead.
She actually stops as you were talking about the bone goddess and, becoming a skeleton with knowledge. And she slithers past you and pulls out a very small tome, flips through it, and she shakes her head. She goes, "Why have I never thought of this?" She walks over, places the book down. So there's this theory that corruption doesn't necessarily come from within. It comes from the knowledge you obtain. And the bone god gives knowledge so abundant it corrupts.
Okay. So that's that whole with knowledge comes power and power corrupts kind of idea?
Yes. I always thought this referred to, I hate to say it, but the elves, how the more knowledgeable they are, the more they take over, the more they become more corrupt, and things of that manner.
But they're not so brutal and aggressive like orcs.
But at some point, the elves enslaved the orcs. It was eons ago, but that's where that whole feud started.
They did it more elegantly.
Yes.
But they ultimately still did power corrupted them, all right?
Yes.
Speaking of elves and power, really quickly, before we delve farther, do you have anything over the king? What was his name? Leoris Sylvan?
She stares at you and she's like, if it is not religion based, I'm not sure. Red Eyes keeps tabs of the kingdoms.
Oh, good. We'll just talk to him when we go and talk to him.
I'm sure he'll give us a very stern answer.
I mean, hopefully he'll know more than us.
Yeah, he is obsessed with who's at war with who has what alliances with who. He is down the rabbit hole of obsessed when it comes to the topsiders.
Well, good. Maybe actually inquiring with him for that knowledge can prove our intent because we have the past knowledge of things. That actually might work in our favor.
Yes, he is very obsessed with heroes and villains from the top side. It is what made him become head of our security. He understands how they think, how they fight, how they work.
I wonder if he's gonna have that might work in our favor. What do you think, Defibulous?
It might work in our favor because we can also tell him what's going on unless he's already heard. And we do have a lot of definitely interesting information.
Yeah, but I doubt he knows exactly what's happened with those older adventurers, so we might have a leg up with him.
Of course we have legs up on him because we have legs.
It's not what I meant.
Close enough.
Nari looks down at her tail and she's like, at least I can't get tipped over easily.
That is true. You do have that advantage.
Yep. Would you say she can't be caught flat-footed?
Oh, very much so. Someone's soul just died very minutely.
I make no apologies for that joke.
As you are all helping, I need let's go with a knowledge. Let's just do knowledge checks around.
Okay, but I have lots of knowledges.
Let's just do what's higher, your int or your wisdom?
Just about the same.
Yeah, the same.
All right. Roll whichever stat is higher to help Nari with the research you are currently conducting.
I got a 19.
19 total.
Oh.
Several hours go by as three of you begin to dig through books and tomes, and you begin to find there are a lot of books written from different eras, referring to the holy city in different locations. Some of them describe them being by a river, others describe them being on a mountainside. Each time you find a reference, you find that the bone god has been defeated or removed from existence.
Okay, but if that's the case, why is he back again?
Or more importantly, why is it every time they beat him, the city picks up and moves?
Yeah, that's another good question.
The other thing you notice as you're doing the research is there's no dates, no reference to time in any of these books, where most scholars would have some kind of indication of time, like even winter, spring, summer, or anything like that. These books don't reference this.
These books suck. Who wrote these things?
Well, that's just a rude thing to say. But yeah, who wrote these?
Yeah, seriously. No dates, not even a season?
As you continue to dig through these books, you also notice that there's no name of the scholar or indication of who wrote it.
How do we even know that these things are accurate, not just made up?
Nari shrugs lightly, and most of these books were given to us by the Sands. The ferrymen will tell us of locations to go and to dig, and we will find different things that we either can control with our magic, like our mirrors or the flameless torches, or we find books. We assume that the ferrymen are writing these.
Okay. I have a question, since you're the leader of the religious stuff here, right?
Yes.
Does a god have a soul?
She stares at you for a long moment as she ponders this.
I asked this because of what you just thought, that the ferryman's writing this. And you mention this time, meaning this has happened before. And these books have indicated that adventurers, motioning to her and fabulous people, have gone against the bone god, tried to take him down, and history repeats itself, right? That's the whole idea of this premise that we're building up to. Can a god not be killed if it doesn't have a soul? And if it does have a soul, does that mean death can ferry the god's soul?
She ponders for a moment and leans back in her chair and kind of taps this pencil on her lip and nods. And, I believe gods, in a sense, have a soul. Or something akin to it. Because if a god wants to manifest and not pull you into the realm of gods or to a realm of their controlling, they can have an avatar that they can possess. Now, if the avatar is killed, the god would return back to the plane of the gods and back to the realm which they control.
But if you're not made into an avatar, but you're made mortal, which is one of the things that you said these items can do.
Yes.
How do we do that? That's the knowledge we need. How do we make this god mortal? Not an avatar. Mortal. That's the piece that we need.
She pulls out a scroll and unrolls it. And you see a giant circle with earth, fire, wind, water on the cardinal directions. In the center is a black, void-like color.
Death's scythe.
Right. But this is all I've been able to find. This was buried in the library, and I just recently came across it. It seems as if you have to remove their tethering to our plane of existence to destroy them. She looks through the other books and she goes, at no point do they mention that the heroes failed or succeeded. It just says that things returned back to normal. Maybe the bone god purposely lets people fall into a sense of security before trying again. Or maybe something is happening that someone is missing something.
Well, question. How many times has this happened?
Well, I was going to count the amount of books that she just read.
There are enough books that if you took Kalila and stood Kalila on her shoulders, then you stacked the books up, that's how high they would be.
Okay, so over 10.
Yeah.
So it kind of sounds like we're repeating the same thing. Like they defeated him and he just keeps coming back. Why isn't there much of record of this anywhere else? Or like, why do the people that keep sending us out on these missions not decide, hey, we beat him, let's write this down. Oh wait, look, history shows this happened again. Why didn't this show up anywhere?
Well, we are the keepers of knowledge, and as I said, we find these books in the sands.
So either death or the gods are hiding it from us.
Right. And if you were a god, would you want
the knowledge of how to kill a god out there?
Yeah.
But he's like, but if this guy is like wiping out magic, eating the magic, or doing whatever woogies to it he is, killing people, raising armies, and slaughtering people, you think someone would keep note like, hey, every so many years this guy comes back and does the same thing. FYI, keep an eye open for it.
Well, nobody else has this knowledge, is the thing. And it doesn't tell us how many years have gone by. So has it been 100? Is this 100 years old, or is this 100,000 years old? Which iteration came first? As she points to the stack of books. You said Red Eyes knows all about the heroes.
She nods.
Is that just on this current? She kind of vaguely motions in the air with her paw time? Or has he studied the heroes in those, pointing to the stack of books?
She looks at the stacks of books. He is obsessed with heroes and villains. It doesn't matter the time or when or who or what they fought against. He has read and researched them many times over.
So maybe he knows some of these answers that we're asking.
Possibly.
Will he happily share it?
But we have to prove to him that we have good intentions and we didn't intentionally set out to release the Bone God for bad reasons.
He gives a light shrug. Red Eyes is protective, and I think he just wants to know that you are not going to side with the Bone God.
How many occasions I've actually had that chance?
She gives a light shrug.
You guys were in our Oh, never mind.
We weren't there permanently. We were looking for key factors. We were looking for moments when you had in possession something that was like the skull. Whenever you possessed a catalyst is what we were looking for. Those catalysts leave a stain on magic. It's as if she looks at Kalila for a moment. It's as if you were hunting something and you had to bathe in death to find it, to be able to stalk it. That is the same kind of concept. These items taint your soul, taint your magic temporarily, and that is what we looked for.
Making sure we're not corrupt, screwed up, and all that fun stuff then.
Yes. Which you are screwed up, just in different ways. Just not in the way of the Bone God.
I won't argue with that.
And you can't get a hold of the ferryman for us. To bring him here, he clearly has this knowledge for us to talk to.
I can cast my bones to see if I can get him to make his way here. That is the best I can do, is I can request an audience with the ferryman.
Something tells me that if he wanted to be here, he would already be here.
He is who we worship. His ways are his own.
Okay, well, I'm ready to go argue with Red Eyes. What about you, Defibulus?
Yeah, let's go have a talk with him. Or did we want to talk to the operational guy?
Green Eyes?
Yeah, you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm ready to get this party on the road. I want to get our arguments met and get on our way and figure out if he decides, looking over at Nari, not to answer our calls. How are we even going to get his attention? Aside from death.
Blow something up.
I don't think blowing... maybe. You know what? I'm willing to try. What do you suggest we blow up to get Death's attention? Because the other explosions haven't worked.
At least not that we've noticed.
Okay, we'll stand around for a lot longer this time.
Yeah, sounds fair.
Do Green Eyes then?
Where do we find Green Eyes, Miss Nari?
Nari walks you out to the front of the library and points to where there is a line of people leading into a very simple-looking building. That is where his office is. Seeing you are who you are, most will let you cut in front of them. That line usually takes a couple of hours to get through.
I don't know. I kind of feel like that kind of a point is using... If he's in charge of the little things, that means the little things matter. I almost say it's worth the wait to prove respect. Instead of just using our clout to take advantage.
He nods.
After all, he is judging us, is he not?
He judges everyone, but yes.
What do you think, Defibulus?
I got nothing to do.
The line we wait, then. Unless you think my point's irrelevant.
Well, no, we can wait.
We will respect the order of things. Even if, the fate of the world rests on us. That's fine.
Standing in line, it's a several-hour ordeal. There are many a times where either like you or Defibulus will go and grab you a snack or something to drink. The other Naga that are in the line have no problem indulging you in conversation, asking about the sights you've seen, not really prying into being adventurers, just more of the, the traveling aspect of what you do, not the hacky, slashy part of what you do.
Yeah, she'll happily gossip, tell them about the cool places they've seen.
And as you stand at the door and walk in as your turn has come up, you see Green Eyes sitting in a chair behind a desk. Piles of scrolls and books surround him, and two guards let you in and step out, and Green Eyes stares at you expectantly.
We were told you wanted to talk to us.
Ah, yes, the adventurers, the ones who are here to cause mischief and mayhem. So, why here? Why now? We were told of you 18 years ago. Why not show up then?
I was born.
And what of you, Defibulus?
Well, 18 years ago, I was about a toddler. No, not toddler. I was in my early years, not quite old enough to go adventuring.
What were you, like 4? How old are you now?
I don't know, I forgot.
Okay, well,
30-something years old?
You're that much older? She looks at Defibulus like, I didn't think you were that much older than me.
Yep. I'm an old man.
Oh, apparently I'm the young one. Well, I was just born and was learning to walk. So a little hard to go navigating through a canyon desert. That and, well, we really didn't know of your existence, nor does the rest of the world, but I'm guessing you already knew that, given your position. that, Nagas are myths and bedtime stories. So, a little hard to find.
And you're just gathering these because someone told you?
My god, you worship a person, I worship a person. You do what they ask of you, like acquiring us. I followed a flock of butterflies, which was my goddess's way of saying, go here.
And what items have you acquired?
Everything but the scythe.
So you wish to remove the power from the ferryman?
No, that is not our intent. And to phrase it like that, I think is inconsiderate of the other possibilities. We wish to bring down the bone god. I mean, I'll happily give the scythe back after that. I just want to borrow it.
Mm-hmm. He slides his chair back slowly and snakes his way in front of the desk. Shifting, he pulls himself up onto the desk to slither up into a coil and stare at you. Do you understand, or did you understand, what these items could do?
She'll look at Defibulus. She goes, not then? Did you know then?
No, I mean, we started getting told kind of what these things were potentially going to be used for about halfway through gathering them.
If I recall right, and let me see if I can do my best Nicodemus impersonation here of, well, we need these items to take down the gods.
No, Bone God.
Bone God. You're right. He was very specific. We need these items to take down the Bone God. How and exactly why, I don't know. I'm still researching them. Was the answer we were given.
The only thing you left out was throwing a book at someone.
I didn't want to be rude, but yes. Henceforth, somebody did something stupid over there and he hurled a book at somebody in the middle of that conversation.
And have you verified that these items are actually what they say they are?
Well, actually, we just did with Nari since you brought us here, but until then, we were not capable of doing so.
And do you understand how to use them as tools and not as corrupting artifacts? Do you understand that these items can be used for both good and bad?
Well, anything can be used for good or bad, depending on. It all depends on the intention behind it all.
Yeah, I mean, writing the books about how to use these things are whether it's good or for bad, because then you could just omit the bad and write only the good way of using them. So the books that you deem your knowledge from are just as potentially corrupting as the items themselves.
He raises an eyebrow at that answer.
But if you want the specifics, no, I want to use them to make the god mortal so I can kill the god and return the world back to where it was. I kind of like the world the way it was before we had undead trying to taint and corrupt everything. I liked my fairies being nice instead of trying to rip my face off. I've met rather many nice fae in the forest. The corrupted ones,
I mean, yeah, he is kind of running rampant, causing mayhem, murder, and destruction everywhere. Magic seems to be failing, so I mean, yeah, we kind of want to stop that because we like our world.
He looks at you both for a moment, tapping his finger on his chin. He reaches in, pulls out one of the pads, and swipes over it, and the items begin to display. Looking over them, he nods. Well, I have a question on this. He points at the water crystal. This artifact has only shown up in a very small amount of books that we have been digging through. How did you know where to look for it?
if I remember correctly, we didn't. Did you? Looking at Defibulus.
We were told how to go. We were told where to potentially search. Then there was that was the one where we got knocked off the boat and ended up in the temple, wasn't it?
That was the Miranda. So
right.
when, actually, ironically, if it wasn't for the bone god slicing us out of the sky, we would have never found it.
I don't think he expected us to survive what he did.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure he thought that we died. So long story short, if you didn't see the entire memory, is the bone god emerged from the clouds, manifested in a physical enough form, slashed us out of the sky, destroying the airship that we were on, and as we were plummeting, oh no, we had the parachutes from the Godsfeld, but as we were falling towards the water, the giant koi that we rescued at the fish temple, ironically, saved us and spat us out in a underwater, what did they call it? A facility?
Yeah, facility.
That. And, well, that's an entire mess. Long story short there, we had to help them do a bunch of things, which we had to help fix their computer? Was it? They called it?
Yep, that's what they said it was.
Their computer, and Fibulus found that thing crammed somewhere in the computer, which was causing problems, kind of like how the Wind Pro was causing problems at the Godsfeld.
Yep.
If I remember right. Is that right?
That sounds pretty accurate. And it was evil though. Like someone jammed it into the generator to cause it to fry the system or try to flood the entire place. And then we purified it after we pulled it out.
Didn't you say it gave you mean thoughts, like to kill everybody?
Yes, it was trying to get me to kill everyone.
And you said no, and then we, like you said, burned it or fried it, whatever. That whole like purify through fire thing instead of purify through water, which is what we did to the torch, which was drowned in water, and it was no longer angry and setting everything on fire.
Yep, sounds about right.
I look back to the snake dude, like, yeah, that about sums it up.
He stares at you for a moment, taps his chin, and gives a nod. Well, it seems as if I might have been a little presumptuous in what I saw.
Yeah, without hearing the conversation, I can see how that could be misconstrued.
It seems as if your intent is pure enough. It seems as if you legitimately do want to stop this evil that has decided to make itself known. Fine. I will change my vote and allow you to carry on your way.
I appreciate that.
Anything we can do for you in the meantime?
He shakes his head no. I do appreciate that you decided to go through the line and not just force your way through like someone who believes that they are the savior of the planet to do.
There's lines and things for all reasons, so.
It's the little things that matter, right?
He smiles and nods. Yes, absolutely. I will inform the council of my decision. He reaches over to a small orb on his desk and he wipes his hand across it. The black reflective surface gives a slight hum as it then goes back to being black. Is there anything I can do for you?
Was there anything we were missing about understanding how these items can be used? We clearly want to bring down the Bone God. So, whether it's to avoid using them incorrectly or to use them correctly.
He moves off the table and kind of stands eye to eye with you and gives that a nod and kind of snakes around to a bookshelf and begins to rummage through it. Opening up a fairly thick tome, he flips open a few pages and begins to read. Once the primal elements are in the cardinal facing, a decision must be made and a string must be cut. Earth shall always be grounding, flame towards the sky. The water and the wind oppose themselves. That is all I've ever been able to translate from the handful of books I have gathered over the years.
I got a question. You're one of those. You definitely appreciate the details and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, does any of your books ever talk of there being two bone gods, a bone god and bone goddess, or anything of that sort?
He closes the book and sets it down and thinks for a moment and nods. Many of us believe that in order for there to be balance, you must have two opposing forces. The guards must have civilians. Kings must have servants. Councilmen must serve the people. Adventurers need villains. I feel this is the same thing as the gods. For every one god, there is a god that opposes them. You have gods that are for the shadows and gods for the light. I feel as if you have one god that has the ability to create undead, you would need, for evil, you would need a god that has the same abilities but in the opposite side of the spectrum.
To create life.
More to create undead for good purposes.
Okay.
Having the living fight the dead just creates more dead. If you have the dead fight the dead, it's kind of a zero-sum fight.
The opposite side of the coin, so the goddess.
Possibly. That is my understanding. I don't know if it is a goddess or if there's just another god that has been completely forgotten or what. But something has to be opposing to this god that has slipped out and has been erased from our history, or their history, or just no longer exist.
Good point. Any other questions?
None that I have.
He nods and thanks you for your time.
She will quietly and quickly exit so the line can continue.
As you exit out, you can see that the crowds on the street have thinned out as people are going into their homes or eating, and you see the Yellow Eyes walking towards a very plain-looking but tall building carved into the mountain wall itself. You see Red Eyes moving into an area where there are guards that are chatting that quickly snap to attention as he approaches. And you see the strange ware peddler that you had met earlier is going around trying to peddle his wares to different Naga who seem to brush him off or excuse themselves from the conversation.
He's not having any luck.
No, he's not. Although she is watching Yellow and Red Eyes. Studying them.
As you watch and study them, the world pauses for now, as that is the end of this week's episode.
With information gathered, innocence proven, and a strange merchant peddling strange wares, the adventurers are getting ever so close to getting a chance to meet the Grim Reaper, the man who controls life and death, the ferryman. Many names for one creature. Well, me friends, it seems as if their adventure, their story, is coming to a head. A final battle is indeed on the way. But what problems will they find before they get there? Well, that is yet to be seen. But tonight, it is time for us to say farewell. For the moon is high, and it is time to say farewell. As always, me friends, may the dice gods bless your every roll.
We here at What the Dice would like to thank Paizo for creating Pathfinder, Epidemic Sound for our music, as well as Sirenscape for our sound effects. If you would like to reach out to us, you can do so on Facebook at What the Dice Pod, Twitter at What the Dice Pod, and of course email whatthedicepod@gmail.com. And if you liked our little adventure, please share us with your friends and rate and review us.